Welcome back guys for another tutorial on HTML and CSS. For this lesson we are going to look at how to create this cool sticker animation for a new product and this animated search bar all using CSS animation. So head over to glitch.com, open up your project, and we'll be working with the product list that we have created earlier, and we'll be creating a new search bar for it. Okay. So let's just start with the product sticker animation. Go into the HTML document, scroll down to your product list, container or segment. So right under the first product, we're going to be creating a new sticker div element, and I'm going to give it a class of new. So we'll be placing an image inside this. So I've created an asset for this new sticker. So if you don't have the same asset, you can actually head over to flaticon.com and look for stickers. So you can actually download one of the stickers that you can use. Make sure you actually give them a credit by showing the attribution if you are using this project for commercial purpose. So I'm gonna uploaded this image, so I'm gonna copy this URL and head over to index.html and place it inside the new development. All right, so I'm just going to resize this a bit. Okay, all right, so right now the image will be sitting on top, so we're gonna put it so that the position is actually on top of the card rather than sitting inside the card. So let's head over to style.css and start working on the CSS properties. All you have to do is point to new, the new class with the dot. I'm going to set the width to 50 pixels, height to 50 pixels, set the position to absolute. We have covered this in the previous lesson, so just look up what absolute does, the position absolute does for the development. And I'm just in case I'm going to set the Z index to 5 so that the image is always placed in front of the card element. So last week we looked at how to create animations using the transition CSS property. We learned how to create the animation by setting the opacity to 0 and ending the animation with opacity 1. But what if I want to change the properties in between? Let's say at 50% I want to change the color of the element into red and change it back to white when the animation ends. This is where keyframe animations would be useful. So keyframes is another CSS property for animation. It allows you to create gradual animation. So it always starts with 0% and ends at 100%. So you can actually stagger your animation according to a percentage, like for example 0 to 50, then 50 to 100, or you can actually break it up into smaller chunks like 25%, 50, 75 and 100. So now you can use any of the transition elements like transform, transition, opacity, rotate, and so on and so forth. So let's look at how the syntax is. So you always start with the add symbol, keyframes, then you followed by the name of the animation, and in curly braces you actually list down the stages like 0%, then you set the animation and what is the percentage, what is the scale or position, opacity, so on and so forth. So we got two stages over here, the from stage, which is a starting of the animation at 0, then the end stage where you have like at the 100% of the animation. So let's add this to our project so we can animate the sticker, right? So head back to style.css. So we're going to be typing at keyframes and give it a name of pulse because we want the pulsing animation. So inside the curly braces, I'm going to type 0% followed by transform and set the scale to 1. Okay. At 50%, okay, let's do 100% first. At 50%, I'm gonna At 50%, I'm gonna transfer it to scale of 1.3, which is the 30% increase. And lastly, at 100%, set the transform back to scale 1, right? So in order to activate this animation, you need to go back to your class and put the animation tag, animation property, and set it to the name of the animation that you put here. So this is going to be pulse, duration, how long it's going to happen. So this is going to be 2 seconds. Then the easing, right, just to create a smooth animation. And the next property will be a loop. What is the frequency of the animation that you want to? So I want to loop this for infinite. So it will be keep on playing. Let's say you just want it like for 10 times here. So you can just set 10 here. So, but I'm gonna loop it to infinite. So as you can see, the animation is already started playing, right? I want to rotate this as well so that you'll have that zoom in rotate effect. So I'm gonna set this to -45 degrees. So you'll have that, zooming in and a rotating effect. Right? Cool, right? So this can be because the animation is starting from this state and going to this state, then after that it's going back to the same situation, right? So this can be written in short form. You can actually delete this and put a comma here and 100% because the animation is starting from the same property, going to some transformation in between, then after that it's going back to the original state, so you won't see any effect. But let's say your end animation is it's something different. Let's say for example 2, so you're gonna have something like this because the animation is not going back to its original form. So you'll just have like a one-way animation. So in that case, you can set like from 0 to 50 to 100. In our case, we want it to go back to the original state. I'm just gonna reformat this so that it realigns, okay? So that you got like a looping animation. It's go back to the original state and that's it. That's pretty much it. So you can actually play around with this animation as you want. So you can set rotate, scale, or however you wanna make it more likable to your taste. So let's say 100%. I want the transform to rotate all the way, like I take a spin. So I would put here 180 degrees and 360 degrees over here. So in this case, the animation will take like one full loop. I mean, the sticker will rotate one full circle, but this doesn't look nice because the text is going upside down and doesn't look nice. So I'm just gonna revert it back to 45 degrees. Okay, so play around with it, and the thing that we're gonna look at is the search button. So I want you to go back to the HTML document, go to the top of the product container before the first product. So we're going to be creating the search bar over here. All right. So before that, for the search bar, we'll be using a new HTML tag called input. Input tag is used to capture the data whenever the user needs to enter the data. Typically, it will be used in forms, search bars, and etc. There are different types of inputs such as text, email, name, password, and others. We'll be using the text type for our example over here. And we also will be using the placeholder to give the user a hint to show what sort of information he needs to put it inside the search bar. So let's head over to the code and let's create our search bar over here. So what you need to do is create a div with the class search bar, close it, and inside it you're gonna create input with the placeholder search, okay, followed by a span called search icon, okay. So right now it's gonna look out of place, and we're gonna okay, so make sure the search bar is actually outside of the product container because we have set the product container into flex. So make sure it's sitting on top of the product container as such, right? So we're going to be styling this because the default style doesn't look nice, and let's work on that. Before that, I would like to add another asset for the search icon. So I'm going to upload a file that I've created before, which is the magnifying glass. All right, so I'm just going to copy that link. You can get that a similar icon in flat icon if you want to. So just look for the magnifying glass or search, and you can get the logo. All right. So let's head to style.css and style our search bar. Okay. Right. So call the search bar class. So I'm gonna give it a background. White. height of 40 pixels. So let's set the margin first so that you can see what's going on, because it's sitting too close to the product list. Okay, so our input is sitting in the search bar container, so we're gonna style it further. So border radius to 10 pixels. Then I'm gonna set a border of 2 pixels, solid, and a gray color. So it looks nicer on the eyes. Okay. And I'm gonna set the display to flex. And set the padding to 0.35 or 0.3. Okay, so it's looking something like that. Let's place the magnifying glass. So call the search icon that we have created in the HTML document. So we created this span, right? So and give it a class of search icon. So we are just referring to it. So what I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna put the background as the icon. So you put background colon URL, which is the link where your image is. So remember that we copied the asset link. So I'm just going to copy it over here and paste it. All right. I'm going to set the background size to contain let's give it a width first, so because we cannot see it yet. Okay, so it's sitting over there, but as you can see, it's repeating itself. So what you do is you type no repeat, center, center. So it stays, and you got one single items only. You don't have a tiling effect, and it's going to be sitting in the middle. All right. So we're gonna give this a margin. And a display flex. Okay. Okay, right now I want the search input to stretch all the way to the end, almost like 90% of the search bar div container. So what I'm going to do is head over to the HTML document and give this input a class of search input. Okay. Now we can apply the styles for the search input. So it's search input, set the width to 90%. So it stretches all the way to the end, and we got a nice icon at the end. So I'm gonna style it further. I'm gonna set the border to none because the default style looks very ugly. Okay, now the border is gone. It looks much nicer, much cleaner. Set the color to gray. Okay. font family to Poppins. Okay, all right. I still got this box. We'll be looking at it later. All right. So I want to create this animation effect when the mouse is actually in focus of the search bar. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set this width to perhaps 10%. So at the initial stage, it's going to be small, maybe not too small, maybe 20. All right. And on hover stage, we're gonna increase the width to 50%, add a box shadow. Before that, let's have a look how it's gonna look like. So it's gonna stretch like that. Maybe that's a bit better. So maybe 60%. We're gonna add a box shadow, 0 2 pixels. 15. So here's where the cool stuff happens. So we have looked at transition before. So set it to width 1 second and ease in. So you got this nice animation when you hover into place, all right? Maybe we can make it a bit smaller in the initial stage, right? What we can do here is we can actually hide the search input at first because we can just show the search icon. So what I'm gonna do right now is put the display to none, and when the search bar hover animation takes place, we toggle the display to lock to flat. Okay. So let's just change the width of the icon so it takes up the the whole space when before the hover animation. So during the after the hover animation, search bar hover, search icon, you can set it to width 10%. Okay, so you got this transition. I want the animation to be smooth, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply this transition over here as well. Okay, so it doesn't abruptly animate into the thing. So let's give this a opacity of 0.5 and opacity 1. So as if initially it's like a disable, but when you press on it, it's gonna become active. All right, so you got this cool animation now. So when we type on this, we wanna remove that border. So what we can actually do is search input. When it's on focus, set the outline to none. So there you go. Got a cool looking search bar right now. So if you want to animate it, the animation to, if you want the search bar to animate when it goes back to the original state, so what you can do is you set the ease as well. So go back to your search bar, put the transition to 0.5. So you got a nice animation when the mouse leaves the search bar as well. Okay, that's it. So you guys learned about keyframe animations today and how it works, how you can actually create staggered animation, gradual animation. So hope you guys like it. So see you guys in the next lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like the content that you're seeing.